All right, Andy Broadway here, and I'm here with Richard Hollowell. In the prior interviews, we've asked a series of questions when it comes to COVID situations, covenant, foreclosures, etc. This particular question that I have is, with some anchor retail tenants posed to go dark or terminating their leases in a bankruptcy, how do I evaluate my co-tenancy provisions that I may have in my lease?
Well, that's a question that we get from your inline tenants, those that might be as small as 2,000 feet up to 10,000 feet, that are really reliant on the traffic that the big box stores or the department stores bring in. Not every lease of a small tenant has a co-tenancy provision. What that provision is, it aligns with whether or not the department stores or the big boxes are operating. And if you go to Neiman Marcus, which is in bankruptcy, you go to J.C. Penney, which is in bankruptcy and going to close probably 155 stores, Macy's, that's closing 125 stores. If those stores close and go dark, not creating the traffic that you expected as a smaller tenant, can you vacate that space? Well, you've got a remedy if you have a co-tenancy provision, which says if the big stores go dark, you can either ask for a rent abatement, you can ask for your rent to be lowered, or you can vacate altogether. So you want to look to see if you have a co-tenancy provision. You would probably know that if you own retail shopping centers, because as you execute leases with small tenants, you usually know whether or not you allowed those particular provisions in there. So on the ownership side, you want to know where you've got a co-tenancy exposure. If you're a small tenant that's been closed for a few months, you want to see if your lease allows you to escape safely without an acceleration of the lease payments if the larger stores, department stores, big boxes go dark. So it's a specialized consideration, a specialized provision in the leases, but folks should be checking whether or not they've got a co-tenancy provision.
So, Richard, what is the best way for if we're either a property owner or someone that owns a lease, how is the best way for us to communicate to you? And when should we call you?
Well, if there's a challenge in analyzing co-tenancy clauses or other clauses in the lease, we can be contacted by the property owner at richardhollowell.com. Most property owners know whether or not they have co-tenancy exposure. Now, on the tenant side, we typically work with tenants that occupy 10,000 square feet and above. Those are the type that may have a co-tenancy clause that we can analyze and determine whether or not you have a good shot at getting a rent abatement, a lowering of your rent, or just making the decision to vacate that space. So larger tenants can reach out to us at richardhollowell.com as well for a consultation.